Hey, welcome everybody. Happy to have you here. Today I've got two guests for you who are very experienced around Microsoft Teams calendar. Because maybe if you've seen User Voice, there is a very hot topic about multi-calendar management. I'm very happy to have here on stage Lars Schorling from a company called Intravision and Andreas Rosen, the founder of QCOM. Hey Lars, hey Andreas, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hi, Ragnar. Thank you.
So could you please tell our audience more about, what's your role and what are you doing and where you're from actually, in which part of this beautiful planet you are living?
If I'm going to start, I'm Lars Schorling. I'm from Denmark, so from the green flatland in the north, and I'm the chief sales officer and one of the partners of Intravision. I do normally sales, marketing, and then I'm the man behind our user experiences on our different calendar platforms.
Super, thank you. Andreas, we also know each other from many conferences. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to travel. There are no conferences, so
That's really
good to see you as well.
Yeah, hi. My name is Andreas Rosen. I'm a founder of the QCOM GmbH. We are since 2004 partnering with Lars' company, and so we have a long story about calendaring. And we started together also years ago with exploring the Microsoft world and bringing the product into that world. And then, let's say, we met on conferences and we were starting discussing about Teams and what is possible, what are our back-end chances, what we can do. And so today you'll see actually what is the outcome out of talks on shows, that sometimes we really produce something. Okay,
That's
Lars.
interesting because I'm talking about this product, or we're talking about this product since now maybe 3 years. And I'm very excited to see what happens since our first conversations. So please tell me more about the birth of this product. So when your product is actually a solution, what is the customer problem? What is the customer challenge? Could you tell me more about what is currently missing in calendars?
Yeah, in general, when you look at Outlook and other mail calendaring interfaces, they are very much a me-focused culture. It's my mail, it's my calendar, it's inviting some people into a meeting I want to do, etc., etc. And what we see in the general companies around the world is that the me culture is switching to an we culture. And you see that by one of the good examples, Microsoft Teams, which is a very much we culture where you collaborate around documents about tasks, etc. Oh, hello. So the on-time group calendar also have the we culture and the focus, and in order to be able to support that, we need to do something different than what Outlook does, and in order to grab many people, not like 5 people, but 500 people, 5,000 people to show in your corporation, we need to scale it up in a different way. And that's the secret sauce, you could say, is actually that everything is synced into a SQL database and caching there. We have our specialized APIs that are not focused on a one-to-one, but much more like, give me 500 people and all their appointments in 1 second. So that is the on-time focus regarding how we manage 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people.
Great. So that means that actually when I hear words, like caching and so on, I think, okay, your solution is going to be very fast. So I assume that you've chosen the SQL Server approach to get a really quick kind of accessing the calendar, showing it, displaying it, editing, and so on. So you did it for performance reasons.
Absolutely. And maybe I should show it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please. That would be great, and then we have more conversations while you're showing it. And by the way, the audience, everybody who has got questions, we would love to hear your questions. Thomas Love already said hello, and Thomas Love is currently organizing a Teams Community Day for Thursday. So everybody who's interested in Teams should not miss Teams Community Day starting Thursday at 9 o'clock, and it's going to last until 10 o'clock with our late night show, and it's free.
Okay, so here's an example that I run from a browser, but basically what we do is our interfaces are the same, but injected into different environments. So whether it's a browser, whether it's a Outlook add-in or Teams as we go further, it's the same. As you can see how fast it is, this is the speed you see when you have hundreds of thousands of people. What we then try to do is broaden the way that we can focus on things. So we have different ways of looking at things, whether it's day, week views, whether I need to see from a longer perspective. It could be like handling vacation planning, which a lot of other people are managing in an Excel spreadsheet, to be honest. Or it could be by doing list approach and create reports that you can export to your Excel and do, let's say, work-life, home or in the office balance. If you have like a 50-50% that needs to be in the office and some out of the office, you can create reports for your management, see how's the balance, how many sales meetings do we have, etc., etc. So you can actually use your calendar data beyond just the overview. Then you have a lot of filters. You have your whole organization in groups. You can find the right people in a certain department in a part of the globe. You can create your own ad hoc groups and share them with other people. And around these overviews, we then add other things as well. Polling, catering orders, visitor management systems, you name it. So basically, if I go in and I try to look at some people here from my office. Yes?
One quick question regarding groups. Do you support Office 65 or M65 groups, or also distribution list groups, so the more classical groups?
We actually have several types of way we create the on-time groups. So it can either be based on directory groups, or it could be based on specific groups that we take out of the directory, or it could be based on the values that are on the person documents as well. So if you have the country department, all these things inside your directory already stored, then we reuse that as well. And can create the whole organization, yeah. So basically, I just mark some people, and you can see I've selected them here. I can create my own group very easily by just clicking on the plus and maybe rearrange them or add rooms, etc. in my views. But I also actually have my finder up here, so I can quickly find the time, just drag and drop, instead of going somewhere else into my Outlook client and re-enter everyone. I can just finish my meeting from here, including adding, for example, Teams meeting, register some people as visitors, finding the right rooms, etc. So all these things can be done very easily, and I can then just create my meetings and off I go.
Nice. Yeah.
So you can see my meeting is here.
Lars,
we also
yeah, please.
Yeah, no, please go.
Could you please also tell us then later a little bit more about the other things, like catering? I'm missing catering so much, so the only person who's currently catering me is my pizza service. This would be also nice to see.
I have been waiting for that with the within the teams, but let's just do it here instead. So if I take my meeting here and I see who's coming to the meeting, etc. Now I want to add refreshments or catering options, and what I can do here is that when I click on my catering, in this case I chose the wrong room, so sorry about that. But here I get the default room, or if I didn't choose a room, I could serve it in the canteen or other places. I have extra fields telling me how we should address invoicing and things like that, who is going to pay for this internally. And I have my menu over here, who is actually depending on the date and time. So let's say in the morning, I will only see morning offerings. If I choose another time, I would suddenly see lunch or afternoon offerings. And I can go in and click and see details, look at whether there's something in gluten or other things. And I can then just add what we want to do. So some tea, some coffee, maybe I want 2 tea or 2 coffee. I get my invoice. I can see what I'm going to pay in the end. And I can then add it. And basically I could say, actually we wanted to do 2 orders, because after lunch, we want to go to the canteen and we want to just have some lunch. So let's just go for 12 o'clock here. And you can see the menu changes. Now I can get my beef baguette and water bottle. And this way, I actually get my receipts in the right side connected to my meeting. So when I save it, you can see that I have my orders down here. So I always have my overview. I see alarms if I need to react on something, because there's a whole catering manager behind it where the caterers can accept or reject. They can, when they serve it, they order it, all these things. I have the total overview from a user perspective, and I get the information if I need to do something else. So that was very briefly the catering that you mentioned you wanted to see.
I'm already hungry. Perfect.
Okay.
From what you see here, that could be 1 tenant, that could be 2 tenants, that could be an on-prem site, several on-prem site mixing with tenants. So whatever your company, I think your company is buying quite a lot, so it would be a good use case for your company, because you're buying faster companies than everybody else, to do calendaring together before you finish with the merging of the data. Even data merging is your business, sorry.
Great. Yeah. So it's a very nice hybrid story here, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's great for M&As, but also for hybrid customers who have several different systems. Yeah.
Real life systems. So because it's just one tenant, that's a nice idea, but it's not always in real life. And
you can actually see the example here. This is Andreas in another company that's connected into our on-time installation. So actually 2 different sister companies that work closely together can suddenly work.
Very nice. It works over also in Teams. So that is let's say this was our solution, and then people were coming up and say, here is Teams, can you do something? And when you look from the outside, Teams is actually a group, an interest group. It's not a group you find in the company structure. It's not by country, it's not sorted by country or business or location. It's actually by interest. Whatever makes, or project, whatever makes a team, then the group happened. And so we were asked or discussed on shows, what can we do to get these beautiful, fast user interface into the Teams context?
So let's switch gears and look how it looks inside of Teams.
Yes.
And while you're switching, I'm going to ask you a very deep technical question. Is it also possible to to add cakes? Yeah. Yes, cakes. We love cakes. Now it's a very good time.
Do not forget the cake.
I should prevent cakes because I have 2 less sports in these days. Yeah. Okay.
I think we all are, but we have to be good.
Really
treat ourselves.
Likes the user interface. Yeah. Super.
Okay. So basically, I have my team here, and I have a team where I go into a channel here, and I would like to be able to coordinate with the others and see their availability directly from this team. So the IT don't care about setting all these things up; they just prepare it. And let me just I'll go back here, go to my tab here, search for OnTime in this case. Click.
Haha, Sandra. Very funny, Sandra.
Use these settings and save. So basically, that's what the user needs to do. And now I suddenly have launched my OnTime in the context of this group. So only the members are here. On the fly, it will always find out who's exactly in here, and I can do the same things as we could before.
And if I were part of the team as a linked external tenant user, I would be in that. So
yes.
And the brilliant thing is that was one of my favorites, that we have it now running on Teams Mobile. So when you're using the Teams mobile app, you get the OnTime for mobile in the right setting with the right people. So while you're on the road, you get the same overview and the same action.
Great. What I really like about this solution is that it's, on the one hand, it's ready to buy, so it's a finalized product. But on the other hand, this product is a kind of inspiration what you can do using the Microsoft Graph. So if anybody hears us currently from the Microsoft Graph product team Redmond, this is excellent work, because Andreas is super excited to show how less calls are needed to integrate the Graph API with this product.
Yeah. So when we come to this point is, let's see, when you saw Lars adding a channel, a tab to a channel, what actually happens is in the standard of this config HTML, you have some variables you can put onto the URL you're calling. And one of the variable is, give me the ID of the group the team is depending. So what actually happens when Lars pressed on this tab is that the OnTime, the server, gets an URL call with including the little ID part, what is the number of this group. And then the server is actually registered, the OnTime server is registered as an application, goes back to the Azure ID and reads the list of users that are in that second in this team. So there is no caching, no delay, it's just the answer of the ID. And then we look back into the list of members of OnTime and we display them. So that was actually one call to make it feel like OnTime knows the team. Yes, after this call.
It's incredible. Sounds incredible easy.
Yeah, it's actually, it's not really deep. It was one call to the graph to get the answer, because the Exchange server, unfortunately, doesn't know the ID of a group. And as Teams groups are hidden by default now, they are mostly not visible in Exchange. So the Outlook doesn't know anything by only if you change it, the default. Okay.
Excellent.
Second magic we had when Lars was creating the Teams meeting, we using the create event call from the graph. And there you can say, I would like to have a Teams meeting, or you could even ask for a Skype of Business meeting, but who will do this anymore? And so when you create that meeting, you put below the text the link, like what you do in Outlook. When you say in Outlook, I would like to have a Teams meeting, then he adds the link while you're saving. So down is so it's exactly the same mechanism as then the first line product is using.
Super.
Yeah. Also, I like here this overview. I could, to be honest, I always search who's coming in a meeting inside my Outlook client. Here I have it clear who didn't answer, who answered, and when I press on this Jeff, when you press onto Jeff, and I can have a look why Jeff is not answering. So things like this, I can directly check in the context why he's not coming.
And always, keep in mind, we are not leaving Teams, so we're not moving into Outlook. We're not going deeper. We are still in Teams.
And
so
when we want to know, here we have the next days of Jeff. Yeah. When we want to know, let's say, what is Jeff doing the next 6 weeks, we would switch the user interface to be from group to person. And then suddenly, when we're switching here on the weeks view, the weeks view, that is my favorite. Each line is a week. And so suddenly you can say, what is Ragnar doing the next 8 weeks? So that is the view to get for management assistant people to get them into the boat, because they always get this funny question, where is that person the next 10 weeks? And that is an awful lot of time when you want to start Outlook, and even you're maybe not allowed to look into it. And so, yeah.
And actually, this is also especially good for personal assistants. So PAs that needs to manage 3 managers or 5 managers, they can just go and they actually become the managers. So they can create the meeting on behalf of them if they have the rights. They can vote for meetings, accept meetings. They can create catering orders. They can do all the things, but on behalf of their manager.
And now it's more complicated because due to the pandemic, nobody is in the same office, so there's less communication in the office, and therefore we need more tools to get, which are easy to use, but give a lot of transparency.
Yeah, and last jump back to the out of office to the absent view. Oops, where are our absent?
Because these users don't have
everybody's
anything.
working.
Oh, sorry, I was bad. I moved.
That's why I showed you on the other on the other demo.
So, because I wanted to explain that we actually have that we limit the amount what you can see. We can give you just the right to see busy times, but we can give you the right to see the color. So when we know by syncing that this is a holiday, we can say we don't tell anybody why it's a holiday, but we show that Ragnar is on holiday. So you can have an overview who's in, who's out, without knowing the details.
And
so
actually,
a layer in between that makes it easier to be fine with the information, because I don't need to know which customer when you have an external meeting. I don't need to know which customer you're visiting. I know when you're on an external meeting, I cannot expect you being in the office before or after. I cannot come around the corner and say, in the hopefully new time when we are allowed to travel again.
And also one thing that is pretty powerful is that the search, being able to search down into people, or even better, search into topics and attendees. So this way I can have 200 people in a customer service center search for a company, QCOM, and then everyone else's filters down, and you will see
That's
two
nice.
people that has that. And everything is drag and drop, so I can just move things around, even between people if it's just an appointment. So you can move between people. Okay.
Andreas, Lars, thank you so much for being here in my virtual show. Super. If somebody wants to know more, I think you are very easy to find. Just enter OnTime in your favorite search engine, enter Lars Schorling and Andreas Rosen, or just contact me. Yeah. So it was a pleasure to have you here. Good luck with your next projects. Keep on working with the Microsoft Graph, which is amazing. Yeah, amazingly easy to use.
Absolutely.
And very powerful.
Next week is community meeting, same time like now, and that's a good start to get into what's new, what's coming, what others are doing. It's a good way to understand with the community, and so you don't get shy about asking questions or finding other inspirations because other asked questions you didn't want to ask. So
great. Thanks for being here. And
Thanks,
don't forget
Ragnar, for having us.
to join
Yeah,
the
thank you
next
for having
events
us.
in the next days. Thank you. Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Ragnar.
Bye.
Have a nice evening. Bye.
Thank you.